Welcome to the fastest daf in town, Tanela Masechta Sanhedrin daf Ayin Vav. We are going to begin on Ayin Vav and Aleph, 5 lines from the top. So we were learning out the different situations where there is a chi of sreifa by having relations, and we certainly learned out from Chamoso, the mother-in-law is beferish in the Torah, and the question is, when it comes to Eim Chamosoi, the mother-in-law's mother, whether or not that is also explicit in the Torah, or perhaps it's not, it's only through a drasha, but either way, the chiyuv is sreifa. However, there is a distinction. We're going to continue with that line of reasoning in this daf. Mahu kalasu asura, just like if we're going to compare one to the next, just like your daughter-in-law is asur, avhi kalasu asura. So too, when it comes to her, are you going to tell me your daughter, the daughter-in-law of your wife's side is asur? We know that's not true. So Omer Rabbi, Omer Kra, Eishes bincha hi. So the whole issue is if it's your son's wife. Umishum Eishes bincha to mechayvo. You're only going to be chayev when you would take your son's wife, which is your daughter-in-law. But not if it's Eishes B'na, not if it's your son's wife. Rava Omer Ben Laman Diamer Dan Mina Mina Ben Laman Diamer Dan Mina Vuki Batra Luasya. So as we had before, that when it comes to Gzer Shava, you can learn one thing completely from it, or just like pieces. So Man Diamer Dan Mina Mina with the Gzer Shava not everything. So again, so Rashi, by the way, says Avhi. It's referring to your stepson's wife, right? That's the situation. So by the stepson's wife, so we know that she's mutter. The aser af be'eshes chorgo is what it is. Your stepson's wife. Yanan hu de'amin mutter adam be'eshes chorgo. That's what we're saying. So omahu kalasu asura, just like over there, we say that the daughter-in-law is asur af he nami kalasu asura. Umina mahu beskila af he nami beskila. So the punishments are skila, as we saw before. No, maybe not. Lamandi skila chamura. If you say skila is the most strict, ikal mifrach malahu shechen ima beskila. So in this situation, the mother is skila timer bihi. Whether in the mother-in-law sheima besreifa, we find that the mother-in-law is more kal because you only get sreifa as opposed to skila. V'od bita besreifa v'kalasa beskila. How do we understand this? The daughter gets sreifa, which is the lower punishment, v'kalasa, and your daughter-in-law would be skila. Why would the punishment for kalasai, for your daughter-in-law, be more than her daughter? If again, the question is, what are you learning out? Why would the punishment for kalasai be more than her daughter, since more closely related to? But we see this by his own daughter, that the punishment is sreifa. We see the punishment is sreifa, and kalasai, who is more distant, right? So why would it be that kalasai, you should have a stronger punishment? Bita should be worse. So why is skill is more common than sreifa? Why would we give kalasai the most stringent punishment and bita sreifa? So this could prove yourself. The bito, the daughter, the punishment is b'sreifa. The kalasa b'skila. We see not only when it comes to her daughter, but even his daughter, it's the same thing. Elamahu lo chalakta boy ben imo kalasai. Just like by him, we don't make a distinction between the mother and the daughter-in-law that the punishment is skila. Api lo tachlik ba ben ima lo kalasa, and the punishment is skila. Now, if you say sreifa is more chomer than skila, mahaykushel nidunyan. Mahu kalasu asura, he kalasu asura. When we say that just like the daughter-in-law is asur, so too she, or by her, the daughter-in-law is asur. So uki batra hasam hu de beskila. Over there, the punishment skila of a hachab sreifa. And we find by the mother. If you say skill is more chomer, that by her, the mother skila time behith to time she'ima b'sreifa. Why would it be a different punishment? Just like when it came to her, we make a distinction between the daughter and the daughter-in-law. If you want to say sreifa is more common than skila, my kushil nedunya. Okay, so again, there's a lot of shakavatari over here. So let's move on. So bita manusasai. So we're not talking about your daughter through marriage, but rather through wedlock. Says Rashi, B'sher didei b'kra derayis bas bincha dokmina b'oinsin lok siva bitoi. So we don't have a pasuk apparently that teaches us bitu manusasai. So haimer Rabbi kavachaimer al bas bito. Anish. We know that when it comes to your granddaughter, the punishment is sreifa. So al bito kol shekain. So your daughter herself, even though it's bito manusaso, certainly you should get the same punishment at least. So even though it's a kavachaimer, you can't punish someone like that. So gil musabalmahu, not just a gili milsabialma. Says Rashi, v'ein ze oinish min adin, da bas bito mikreves de bitohi. Okay. Rabbi Omer Rabbi Yitzchak bar Abdimi Hasi Hena Hena Zima Zima. It's Xer Shava. Tanya Bua de Rabbi Avin Vishal Amanu Lavita Manusaso. Since we didn't learn out the Isra Bita Manusasai, Kusuch Hakasav Omer Ubas Ish Kayin. Pasuk needs to say the word Ubas Ish Kayin by a daughter of a Kohen, which she gets sreifa. We say clearly it says beish tisrofu. So ima bas kayin he b'sreifa in bu'ula b'sreifa. The one who had bo'aleha, the man doesn't get sreifa b'chenek. Abida munusaso he b'sreifa v'in bo'ela b'sreifa that he gets chenek. So we don't see that. It's only by when it comes to a bas kayin. But we don't see this by bitu munusaso that the man would only get chenek. When it comes to Bas Kayin, it's because she was mischalel. Excluding this case where the father was caused the chilul. So therefore he gets the same punishment. So therefore the idea is, when it comes to Bas Kayin, so she was the one that mischalel. So therefore we say she gets sreifa, but the boyel gets chenek. However, when it comes to Bida Munusaso, that man, the father, is the one who was mischalel his daughter, and therefore they get the same punishment. Rabbi Bishul Mahasam affected Medin the Bas Kayin, that we remove him out of the din of Bas Kayin, but him to din of the Bas Yisrael, and we give him chenek by Bas Kayin. Hacha adina deman mukmin lay, adina de penuya mukmis lay. We consider like a penuya. See if there's Rashi on this. Okay. Azhar lubas medusas menayin. Bishul mulabai v'rava v'hecha de nafgalu einish mahasim nafgalu azhar. However they learn out the punishment, that's how they learn out from the same drasha the azharos. Ella with a Tanya vua de Rabbi Avin Mai. How about according to him? So Rabbi Eloi Yamakra the pasuk says al tischalas bincha has noisa. Person to mischal his daughter to be mazana with her. Maskim Rabbi Yaakov. Rabbi Yaakov. Hi, this pasuk of al tischalas bitcha was naisel hachudasa. You're coming to tell you that's an azhara for bita manusaso. Hi, mi boyel g'nasan al tischalas bitcha has naisel yachol b'kayin hamasias bita levi. Maybe it's just referring to a kayin who marries off his daughter to a levi. Maybe that's the level of chilul. The Yisrael akas madaber. That instead of you, the Bas Kayin, marrying another Kayin, your father marries her off to a Levi Yisrael. Talmud Lermel has Naisa. No, it's not. It's a higher level of causing Chilul. Bechilul, she was Nus akas madaber. It's when there was Nus, not that she was married off to some person who wasn't a Kohen. But Meiser is Bito Shlul Shem Ishus. Or it's alternatively, we're talking about you gave over your daughter Shlul Shem Ishus to someone. So that's how we learn it out. The pasuk is telling you that the only time we have a din of chilul is when it's dealing with znus. It's not talking about marrying off. So maybe that's what we want out the pasuk. We don't learn this down as hard for Bida Musasai. So him came lemekral tachalmai al tichalel with two lamids shema mina tarti. You can learn out two things from this. V'abai Rabbi hi al tichalel as binchal has naisa mayavdale. What does he do with that pasuk? So Amar Rabbi Mani zeh hamasiyas bitul zaken. This is referring to someone who marries off his daughter to an elderly man, says Rashi. Since she's not someone that she can relate to him because they're on a totally different level. He's 90 years old, and he also is no longer fit to have tashmish. So you're gonna cause her to have znus. Don't be machal your daughter, and she will end up having znus because of it. If you marry your daughter to an old man, Rabbi Kiva Omer, because she's not going to love him, she's not going to feel emotionally connected to him. Rabbi Kiva Omer zeh hamisha bito bogeres. This is referring to someone who the woman wants to get married. She's already a bogeres, and you don't allow her to get married. You push it off, which again is going to cause her probably to be mazana. Omer of Kahana mishum Rabbi Kiva ein lecha ani b'Yisrael el rasha orum. There's nothing more poor to a yid el rasha orum. Someone who's a wicked, naked person, v'misha bita bogeres, and someone who leaves off his daughter as a bogeres. Says Rashi. So Atu Hamisha Bita Bogeres Lav Rasha Aram. You're saying that they're two separate things. This is not like a Rasha Aram, like the lowest thing. It says Rashi, that you're holding her back so she can still work in your farm. Zuhi Aremes Rosh. This is like the craftiness of a wicked person. Shigarim has nice. You're going to cause her to be mazana. Bishvil Hanasai Shein Roitza Likna Shivcha L'Shamshai. You don't want to spend money to have a shamish, to hire a maid, so you keep your daughter. So that is the highest level of anius, that you don't even allow your daughter to be able to get married. But we're saying that it says, it almost sounds like there's two separate cases, that a Rasha Aram and a Misha Bitul Bagaris. So I'm Rabbi, as we continue to ayin Vava Mebei's Hachikamer. Ezehu ani Rasha Aram zeh Misha Bitul Bagaris. Now that is who we're talking about, which is question 13. It's hard to get like easier questions in here. That's why they don't come as often. So the question is, who do we call ani Rasha Aram? A poor, crafty, wicked person, someone who holds back his daughter, even though she's already a bogeres, which is the exact same question as TB25. I wrote Zeh Hamasia Oto Bito Rakashi Bogeres V'Koldamachain. It's not really true. Holds back. It's not that you wait. What does it say? What's the lashon over here? It says Hamisha Bito Bogeres. Right? Shemisha Oisa B'Shvil Malacha. Okay, so it's mashma, not that that he does something, but he pushes her back and prevents her from getting married. That's the idea. Okay, let's keep going. V'yomer of Kahana Mishum Rabbi Kiva. Zahir min hayoatzecha. A person should be careful with your creator. Lafi darkai, according to your ways. What is this referring to? Amar Yehuda Marav Hamasi bit as bito lazakin. Anyone who marries off his daughter to an old person, v'masi isha lebnoi katan, or you marry off your daughter to masi isha lebnoi katan, to a young boy. Maxer Aveda Lakuti, return an Aveda to a Kuti, Alavakas of Omer, Laman Safas Raves Asamei, El Yava Hashem Soloyachloi. So this pasuk of Laman Safos, in order, Lachbor, Rashi says to combine Raves Asameya, Saba Badavar Im Smeya, that you're being satiated with something which is, with Samadavar, something which is like causing you thirst. So this is what is this? Zaken v'yolda zoy simol tashrim zaken sava v'chin gedol katan. Okay, fine. So that's what this pasuk is learned out from, which is also question 14. It's me dirsha chazal. It's a pasuk of Safas. Lo yoyva Hashem solecho, Hashem won't forgive you. That's if you marry your daughter to a zaken, you marry your daughter to libno katan. You marry a woman, umasi isha libno katan, to your young kid. Umaxer aveda lakuti. You return an object to a kuti. Exactly what the problem is with that is a good question, but that's what it is. So meisvei ha'oyev es ishtoi kegufo, someone who really loves his wife like himself, havamachabda yois megufo, and wishes to honor her more than himself. Umahadrecha b'no b'noisav b'derech yeshara, and wants to be madrech his children in the proper way. V'ha'mishan samach apirkan, and let them get married samach apirkan. Those during a normal frame of time, says Rashi. Again, you should give her b'tachshit and nice clothing. Adayin katanim heim, while they're still children, is samach apirkan. There'll be peace in your tents. So we see clearly there's nothing wrong with marrying your child off as a katan, right? So samach apirkan shani, says Rashi, the love hainu katan kli hai. It's not like a little, like a 5-year-old. If we're only talking about, let's say, a year, or let's say a half a year before they become gedolim, so then you don't have to worry. That's okay. Tanaban. So that's the distinction. Ha'oyeves shcheinav. So if you one who loves his neighbors, and brings people close, says bas achaiso, and someone who marries his niece, his sister's daughter, v'hamalva selul ani, person who lends money to a poor, b'shas daichkai, in a time of their difficulty, lavakasav oimer oz tikra v'Hashem yana tanaban oisov as hen. So this is referring to them being killed, kill him as hen. Mashmole Rabbi Shmuel as ha'achas mehen. Kill one of them. V'isha asher yikach as isha zu ishto. V'hadar as ima be'esh yisrael v'osav es chamoisai. So what does this mean? So osav es achas mehen. You end up killing him and one of them. Which means if he's married and he has tashrish with chamoisai, so he's chayiv on chamoso, and she's also killed. Both of them. So what does that mean? Both of them. In other words, we're talking not just about your mother-in-law, but maybe we're talking about your mother-in-law's mother. And therefore, this is the question, as we saw in yesterday's daf, that maybe you're not only is chamoso in the pasuk beferish, but also your mother-in-law's mother. But everyone holds it doesn't make any difference. You're still going to be chayav streif in either case. Rabbi Shmuel saber oisav es hen, oisav es achs mehen. We're only talking about chamasai. Shekain b'loshin yoini in Greek, karin l'achas heina. It's called heina. Ve'em chamaso midrasha asya. Actually, em chamaso is not worn out from the pasuk, but it's through a drasha. But again, either way, you still have skila. Rabbi Kiva saber oisav es hen, oisav es shtehen. In other words, it's also the mother-in-law's mother. The em chamasai hachaksiva. So it's em chamaso hachaksiva. That's actually, it's considered like in the pasuk. Rabbi mechamaso lachar misikaminayu. He says the nafkamina is whether or not after your wife dies, whether there's an isser in taking your mother-in-law then. Rabbi Shmuel saber chamaisai lachar misa b'sreifa. Rabbi Kiva saber isur ba'alma. So that's a machlokas. Okay. Fine, let's keep on going. Says the next Mishnah, the Emasnisim, Eil HaNehargin. So that was really a hard introduction to this parak, but it gets lighter now. The Eil HaNehargin, these are the people that will get the punishment of hereg, or sayef, the sword, haratzeach, which is said many times, the murderer, v'yachir nidachas, and the ir nidachas, that is the punishment. They get the punishment of hereg. Ratseach shehika esreehu be'even o barzel. If you have a guy who hits his neighbor, friend, whatever, with a stone or metal, like with a knife. He puts him into water or into fire. So if you drown someone by holding him underwater, you're chayiv. Once you just push him into the water or into the fire, right? So he technically could have gotten out, but for whatever reason he didn't. So you're not chayiv for having killed him. She's supposed to kill him. She's supposed to nachash potter. If you entice and incite a dog or a snake, you're potter if it kills. Hishich boas nachash. Rabbi Huda Mechayv Chachamim Poiter. So what is this? So Hishich she'achas as anachash biyadai means you mamish are holding the snake in your hands. V'alicha v'hagia shenei nachash biyada shel chavero. You actually take the snake and put the teeth so it'll bite like you're pressing it right up against the guy's skin. So is it similar to like putting a knife right there? So what's the nafgamina? So it's a machlokas. However, if you were just trying to incite it and like getting it angry, and then it goes and bites someone, then you're potter. Okay. Says the next Gemara, how come it doesn't mention a handle when it comes to killing with metal? Because the truth is, even if you have a small piece of metal, you can still kill someone, right? Even if it's like the size of a razor, it's very sharp. Tanami hachi, Rabbi Omer Govia Dulef name Mishamer Bahayolam Shabarz will make some cholshu. You can kill in any way. Lafikach or nitna tyra boshir. That's why there's no measurement how big it is. However, Hanimili the barze mivras. That's only if you stuck him with it. When you actually use like the sharp point of it. And this the Rashi brings down. It says be'evan yad. When it comes to a stone, it has to be evan yad. It has to be a certain measurement to kill. However, now when it comes to a sword, fine. So because bar it couldn't kill anyway, because beveshet obelibo, you can it's like even like a needle can be pierced into this person, and therefore that will be you'll be chayav just for that. If you hold them into the water, so Reish Revuska Mashwan, Sever Revuska Mashwan. Reish Revuska Mashwan, the beginning of the mission is coming to add that Aval Gav Dolav Ihu Dochvoy, even if you're not the one that actually pushed him, however, you happen to be in the water. Someone else shoved him into this deep end water, and now he's drowning, or he can maybe get out, and you hold him down. Even though you didn't start it, you're still chayiv. Even though you pushed him, how do we know by you can be chayiv even just pushing someone or holding them down into the fire or whatever? So Shmuel Kra. Do you ever cry? The Pasuk says, "Oh, be'evil." Rabbi says, "Matzam So we learn out even matzam, which basically means the Rashi says, "Hainu kaivish." Simsamusham shul yokum. You basically hold him down so he can't get up. So then that would also be you be chayiv. Question TA25. You're allowed to marry off a girl to your son. Umach shash b'zeh. Okay, so it's not such a pushed answer, but this is the answer. This is Ayin Vav Amud Beis. So he says like this: Saimach Pirko Shari the Koydem Achein Aser Shema Tizna Alav. So that is the distinction. It's allowed if it's Samach Lapirkoi. That's what it says. Samach Lapirkon Shani. So that is the answer, TA25. And because otherwise she may be Mazana. Okay, question TB26. Almi Darsha Chazal Sapasagaman Savas. Same thing as question 14. This is question TB26. So what is this coming to tell us? This pasuk. So I wrote Lahachzir es Avedas Kusi. Masi marrying a ishul ben katan bibeso, or marrying bito lizakan to someone who is old adkan.